Hello everyone and welcome to today's interview. This is going to be an exciting one. I'm here today with Mats. Mats, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you have done when it comes to rowing.
Nice to be here, Ruben. Very nice.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed that you invited me to an interview. My name is Mats Almrev. I'm a retired officer. I was in the army until 2001. Then I switched and started to work in different schools here in Jönköping. My first contact with rowing was when I was head of Järnaskolan Riksinternat, just 40 kilometers north of Jönköping. I had a teacher called Greg Cooley, who was from Brisbane in Australia, and he was taking care of the rowing at the school. And I saw what he did for rowing during holidays, during weekends, during evenings, for the kids or for the students. But he said he died in 2013, and then I decided to do something by myself. If he couldn't do anything in the future, I should try to do something by myself for the rowing. So I joined the board for Jönköping Roddsällskap. That was 2014. I was responsible for Baltic Cup 15. I was elected chairman of the board for the Rowing Federation in 17, and also responsible for the European Championships for universities here in Jönköping, as we had in August 2019. That's my background. So I'm not a rower, I'm more an organizer for different activities, if I say so.
Yeah.
But I've been on water once, I must say that.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's all it takes. No, but like I said before, Mats, it's really nice to have you here. And just like you guys heard, Mats have done a lot in his life, which is great. You've had a lot of experience with different stuff. Now, Mats, tell us a little bit more about your time in the federation. You were there, we were just talking before we started this interview, you were there for 5 years. Tell us a little bit, like, how was it to be in a federation, in a rowing federation? What were the main challenges you guys saw, and what were the stuff that was good?
You know, every time you get a question if you want to accept an option as the chairman of the board, and say, oh, it's fine, it's just one meeting a month, you know, there's nothing in between, you know.
Yeah.
That's if you give somebody a finger, they suddenly eat all your arm. It's a full-time job, basically.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to have somebody coming in from the side to see something with new eyes. And you see that there are different cultures in different sports and different federations as well. I could realize the problem we had quite soon after I started, because the rowing clubs in Sweden seems to get fewer and fewer, and the members in the rowers in the clubs seem to be fewer as well, and that was a big crisis. So we started a work to try to raise both the number of clubs and the number of rowers, but it was very, very difficult, because there was a lot of old, how should I say, old forms and old relations in between clubs. I got a feeling that many clubs were working by themselves, not together with each other. And that has been so for quite a long time, I think. It's been better, I must say, not because of me, but I think it's a lot of things that have improved during the years now. But there's still a lot of things that could be done. And I must say that the project that this Zero to Hero is a great improvement for Swedish rowing, because suddenly somebody came in from the side. The guys who were behind the project, they know rowing, but they could see the Swedish rowing clubs with new eyes, and they really improved the, let's say, the culture in Swedish rowing, because Jönköpings Roddsällskap was one of the first clubs that accepted their offer. And I was a little bit skeptic by myself in the beginning, because nobody had done this before. But we can see the result now, and it's definitely a great success for the club. And we have, from just being a few people in the board and a few members, we have so many members now, so we can hardly take care of all of them.
Yeah.
But that's a nice situation, I must say.
That's a good problem to have.
Definitely.
So I think, Mats, you said some really good things there, and I think also Swedish rowing is quite small. It's not anything big news here.
No.
It's like it have been like that for quite a long time. But I think that this is maybe something that even bigger federations are facing. Just like the culture with having like clubs being like close and don't really want to learn from each other and cooperate. And what are your opinions of that? What do you think that's something that maybe is like damaging the sport of rowing?
As it could be, and I see it's a big risk, definitely, and that's the reason why I think it's very good that somebody's coming, let's call it from the side, and do something that we haven't done before, and that could probably be the same for many other sports in Sweden as well, because you need somebody's coming in with new eyes, new blood, and sees things from another side without any old connections and old affairs or something like that. Just do the business, and that's it. And that's the reason why I think this project with Zero to Hero was so professional. But it's not typical Swedish, because in Sweden you should basically do by yourself, because you know best by yourself. And if you can accept that perhaps you're not an expert in everything, just listen to other people and let's them do their business. That's a great track to success.
And I think that's something that we noticed as well when we were like out in the clubs here in Sweden. Obviously we have done this program now with most of the clubs, and what Mats is calling Zero to Hero, that's what we call the program here in Sweden. Yeah, I mean, when you are out of the clubs, you can really feel the thing that you said, with just like these old relations that people have, and just maybe some relationships have been damaged before, and then that's just like, it sets a stop for the clubs, which is like something that is really, really unfortunate. And I think that's also the reason why we have been able to like collaborate with so many clubs, because you don't have any
any connections.
And I think like it's really hard, like even if you like get someone to from the sport, they say like, this is let's do this, like if they know so many people since before, like no one is gonna really take them serious, because I know that a lot of people have, they've done good things or they have good ideas, but just because like you have been around these people the whole time, like no one really values your ideas, which is I think
it always depends who comes with the idea, not the idea by itself. Another thing with the project is that we have got about 100 new members in the club now, and that means that we have people now that haven't the background that the old people has in the club, because they come in also done with new eyes and new blood and everything, and that makes the club yes, you say computers, Control Alt Delete. I mean, you started from the beginning again, and we have now 7 or 8 coaches all together. And because of the course we had.
I know, and that's like something that's like, I always say it, to people and to other clubs, like if you don't have coaches at your club, you are like a dying club. It's not good. I
mean, it's the same. We have now started with juniors. We haven't had it for several years, but now we have coaches for the junior group as well, and that's perfect, because otherwise the club will die if you don't have any juniors.
I know. Do you know, Mats? I don't know that. I don't think that you know it. We just did it recently, but we ran one of these programs for juniors in Kungälv in a little scale, and it worked really good. So we had 20 juniors. They are training right now in Kungälv.
I spoke with Matthias this weekend, and he said the same. So I know. That's perfect. That's perfect.
So, but I think also like at this stage, and I think most of the clubs are at the stage that you just need to bring like volume. You need to bring more people that can take care of stuff, like so you can bring also up the competence of the coaches. If the coaches don't have people to coach, then it's like, how are they going to get better?
Exactly.
I don't think that, just like going in and say like, because a lot of clubs like have this dream, like maybe they are not there, which is okay, but they have this dream like, we want to bring in youngsters and they are going to be Olympic medalists and we are going to be this big famous club. But the reality is that taking like a kid and making them really good takes a lot of effort and a lot of skill from coaches. So you are better off just starting with like training coaches and getting people in that can help with coaching in the first place before you move to that step. You can tell us a little bit more about that also, because I assume that being in the federation, that's also a big part of it. Like, how do we get people to actually develop and come higher up and be out there and represent the sport?
Yeah, I know we had a problem to raise coaches in all clubs basically. But I think it's been better now the last couple of years, and a lot of other things has improved, I must say. I remember when I started in 2017, nobody was talking about indoor rowing, and hardly nobody. Just a couple of was talking about coastal rowing as well. So the more disciplines that come into rowing, and also we have succeeded, I must say, with training with coaches on a federation base as well, stage 1 and stage 2 and so on. So but I mean, if we return to the club here, I mean, say we started with 2 coaches here, and after the project, we suddenly ended up with a lot of coaches. We have basically not more than we need, but we have so many. So we have coaches in stand by if something happens.
Which is, I mean, that's also once again like the thing, you know, how most of the clubs are thinking is like, we just have like, you know, we just put enough effort just so we have like 1 to 2 coaches. But what happens if one of the coaches like moves out of the city, or I don't know, they get a kid and now there cannot be that much at the club? It makes it really volatile. And I think also that's for sure something that you have noticed also with the clubs here in Sweden. It's like it goes like in waves. Like sometimes a club can be really big, and then just because like the coach or the person that was in charge of everything maybe steps down, then it completely like goes back to baseline 0, and then someone has to build it again.
Exactly, and that's the problem we have in all organizations, because you have key personnel that are very important for the whole business and so on. But if you only have 1 or 2, that's a big crisis, because if they leave, as you say, then you come back to the basic organization again. So that's the reason why you have to have several of them that could be named by key persons. I thought about the other thing. I mean, if you join one of the projects we're talking about here, you have to be aware of that you have to take care of the people that are interested to continue at the club.
Yeah, of course.
So it's different stages in all this, because if you just think, oh fine, we're done this course, as we call it, 0 to hero, and now that's a check for that and so on. But it's not that easy. You have to prepare, you have to plan to continue with that, which we have here with what we call hero to legend, and that works very, very, very good, I must say. And I mean, even if not everyone continue with the rowing, because then they know what rowing is and they can talk about it, and we could probably generate more people come to the club then
100%,
as well.
100%. I was sitting with another club and we were talking about this in an interview, and you know, we were just talking about like you know, we had this closing ceremony. We did the interview just after the closing ceremony, and we just saw everyone was smiling, you know. Everyone was there. They were like at the last day of the program, everyone was really happy. So no matter if like people continue or not, like they've got such a good experience with rowing, which is it's just good for the sport. If people like are there, they're like, you know what, this was good. Maybe for me right now, I have so many other things with my work and stuff like that, but the sport was like, I got a good feeling, like I liked it. And I think that's gonna like eventually, like let's say in 2-3 years from now, that's gonna put like really rowing into the map.
I believe you, definitely, I believe you. And if even if they don't continue with rowing, those who have been participating in the course, they have got friends. They will keep.
Yeah, exactly.
And they know about the club. They know about what the sport is and so on. So it's definitely a success, I must say.
The number one thing that's like frustrates me as a rower now after running all this program is like people, they don't even know the sport. They like, yes, they sign up for the program, but they still don't know what it is. So they come down here and they think that it's like canoeing, or they think that it's like. And
what's the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a normal question.
And I think just like by doing these campaigns, so how this usually works for you guys watching this also, like when we run these programs, what we do is just like we, let's say, make from 50 to 100 videos for every club. So the videos are shown, and you must probably have seen these videos and images when we run the program. So they are shown all over the city, okay? So that's the first thing. So even if you just it's still a lot, if you just get like 100 people to the program, like guess what happens with the rest of the city? And I was sitting on my computer the other day and I saw that just this year, just this summer, we reached out to 800,000 Swedes. And showed one of these images, which is a lot. Like in a summer, it's like 1/10 of the Swedish population.
That's amazing, I must say. And I must say that's one very, very new thing about the course as well, or project, is the marketing, because that was very professional.
Yeah, and I think that's also the reason why it have worked out so well, because without having like the right marketing, or without positioning the sport as this good thing to be part of, then it's really hard. And it's like when you do stuff like that, like do the marketing and just advertising of all kinds, like you are paying to be shown. So if you do a bad job, like you lose money basically. So it's like you don't really have any, let's say, any space for error or mistakes, because like if you do it as a club, let's say, and you don't have the amount of funds, you already go like with with the scarcity and with the risk of losing money, and then if you do it wrong, then you basically bear the money and maybe also like bear the reputation of the club if you do something wrong. So it's really, you have to think through the marketing side of things, so you present the best side of the sport, so everyone, even if they don't join, I think that's the biggest part of these programs, that you just want to leave people with a good impression about the sport. If like, let's say someone here in Jönköping, the city we are now, they got like, and probably like how this works is like if people get one video and they somehow click or they show some interest, then they get even more. So let's say they saw 10 videos and all of them were professionally made, they were fun, they made the sport look open to everyone, and fun and welcoming. Like even if they didn't end up joining, what happens is that they're just like, wow, this is cool. Like I've never thought about rowing.
It gave definitely the sport a face. Everyone knows about it because of that. And I mean, I haven't heard the figures before, how many people have seen the marketing, but it's impressive that you really succeeded to reach so many.
It's a lot. I mean, it's like really 1/10 of the of Sweden, which is crazy. Like. Who would have thought? So if you just like continue like this, I mean, if you do it for 10 summers, then that's it. The whole Sweden have seen about rowing, and of course our idea is to just like level up and do things even more professional and at bigger scale, so it even goes faster, because that's the thing. If you move slow, if it takes. Like this is a good opportunity, and if you move slow, you maybe miss one of these opportunities. Let's say that somehow, because these platforms change also, like the algorithm changes, so something becomes more expensive. And the reality is that it always becomes more expensive to advertise. Like if you compare from, let's say, 2010, like now it's probably 5 times more, 10 times more expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, so it goes up, because like what happens with these platforms, so mostly this is with all the platforms, like the more mature a platform gets, like let's say Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like the more mature they get, then they are like, you know what, now we're gonna make the money, because most of these companies, like in the front end, they are losing money. They're just like trying to attract as many people as possible using them. And then after a while, when they're like, okay, you know what, now we are good enough, we have like I mean, what, Facebook has like 3 billion active users.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, now let's go on and let's just like make the most amount of money. So then they raise the prices up for advertising, which makes it like tough. If you don't have the right offer to make to people, or you don't have the right structure, then you fall back to like just putting about it on your website.
Yeah.
And that's not
a success. No,
that's not a good place to be.
I have to ask you, how many clubs have you met this summer during the project?
Yeah, so this summer we have had now...
in Sweden, I mean?
Yeah, only in Sweden we have had 11 clubs that we have worked with, and then we have had also the opportunity to work with one club in the US, and now the idea is that we are gonna go in more to just like maintain what we have done in Sweden, do it again with the Swedish clubs, as well as getting into the US market, because we thought that that's also something that worked really good for us. And like our ideal goal is also to go in a little bit more to Scandinavia and maybe some of the countries in Europe. I think that of what I've seen, I've done some research. I think that most of the clubs and most of the clubs out there in Europe and in the US, they are actually kind of running the same way as Swedish clubs are run, especially when it comes to attracting people. The only difference is that maybe rowing is a more known sport there.
Yeah, especially in Germany.
Yeah, so I mean, you took up Germany. Let's say German clubs, they are doing the same things, but since they have this like machine house of like elite athletes, that brings a lot of attention to the sport, which then makes it natural that people like want to try it out. But that's also something that you can get it to a certain level, but then to take it to next level and to be able to attract these people at profit for the club, so they can do other stuff. I think that's also something that's like not really there yet. So it's another thing to just say to people, yeah, come to our club, because the sport is known and we put the fee super low so everyone can join. That's like quite an easy thing to do in bigger nations. But once it comes to just like, being able to demand a little bit higher price so you can actually function as a club properly and have funds to buy nice things to your people, have a lot of coaches, I think that's like where a lot of clubs are like maybe falling a little bit behind. But what's your thoughts on this, Mats? Obviously you have worked with the federation. What do you think that is the number thing that clubs here in Sweden, and of what you have seen maybe around in the close federations here in Scandinavia, what do you think is the one thing that clubs could like develop and should develop in order to grow the sport and in order to not fall back all the time on the same like loop year after year after year?
Basically, as we spoke about before, having courses like, as you arranged, for example, here in Jönköping. But I also think the Swedish rowing clubs have to be a little bit more like golf clubs, because they have a pro at the golf club. A pro is living at the golf club, but the pro is running his own business or her own business, sell courses and have it as a company, not company, but an occupation for
it's like a venture.
Exactly, and that doesn't exist in rowing. I think that's a very important thing. Before we were speaking about people who were working on a voluntary basis, but I think we have to think a new way now, because I think we have to pay people to do things. Otherwise, we can't be professional. We have to pay the coaches. We have to pay somebody who's taking care of it. Let's compare it with the golf pro, for example.
Yeah.
He or she could have use all the facilities at the club, but sell courses, sell clinics, sell special PT hours and whatever it is. And that's a summary. We have to go from be on activities based on a voluntary base to activities based on a more commercial base. I think we are there now for the moment, because people are not prepared to do things only on. We have to have voluntary work as well, but I think we have to think in more professional terms on the clubs.
What do you think is the biggest risk if clubs continue to work in a voluntary basis?
I think that's the old-fashioned way to think. I think that if we want to improve the rowing for the sports in Sweden, we have to think in more commercial thoughts. You can kind of compare with other sports as well. I think rowing is very traditional sport in the way we run the clubs and run the activity. I think we have to modernize it. I mean, what you spoke about in the beginning here about the course you have, the 0 to Hero, as we call it in Sweden, that's one way to do it.
Yeah.
And you pay the coaches when you had the course.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
You have to.
You not only had a course here, you also had a, let's say, made a frame about how you can run the business here. And I mean, that's for me at least, it's a new way of thinking, and that's a modern way of thinking as well. That's the one way to improve all the activity we have at the club.
Yeah.
You know?
Mats, obviously, like you said before, you have had a lot of experience with organization, managing people. What do you think is the biggest difference of when it comes to running a organization where people get paid and organization where you rely in voluntarily work? Do you think it's I have my own opinions on this one, and but I want to hear a little bit more about you, because a lot of clubs, they are when we are talking with them, they are this sounds good, but we don't want to step on anyone's toes.
No, that's the big problem.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to rely on if you have people on voluntary base, you have to rely on the want to cooperate and so on. If you pay people, you can have demands. You can say, I want to this and that be done. And that's one way to speed up the activity at the club as well. So I know that there's a lot of people that doesn't agree what I say now, but I think that's let's call it rowing 2.0. That's the way to do it. Yeah. And I mean, again, this course we had, 0 to Hero, is one way to prove that you can do things in another way and you succeed, and you can come to another level at the club. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't have people on full-time salary. That's impossible. But you have to. I think you have to have some sort of payment. Otherwise, you can't have any demands on people. You have to rely on the people's willing to cooperate and agree what you think and so on. Otherwise, as you said before, it's a risk to step on someone's toes if you try to just rely on
I mean, it feels like when you are working voluntarily, it feels like you are all the time asking, and then you just wait that people are going to give, but you never know if they're going to do it. If you have this relation of you know what, this is a little bit more professional, we have some certain written rules, we want you to do this and you are getting this salary for doing this stuff, then it becomes much easier to communicate with people also. And I love the thing that you said there, Mats, because you said it's not, and this is a really, really big misconceptions that club have. They think that from nowhere, a full-time employee is going to drop down from earth like an angel, and they are going to save their club. But reality is that you need to step up to that level to have someone that is full-time. And it's just having your own little venture. You don't go from working yourself on your venture and then you bring in a full-time person. You work with maybe bringing in an agency first, maybe then you bring a contractor, then maybe you bring someone that can work part-time, and then you step up to full-time. And I think that's something that a lot of clubs maybe miss out. They think that what we need in order to fix let's say the coaching problem, we need one full employed coach, which is really hard to go from no coach to one full employed coach.
Definitely.
And it's also where are you going to find the funds to do that? If you had the funds, then you would already have done it, right?
I think first of all you have to find the acceptance from all the club members that you have people that are paid for doing the job. Because if you just go back 5, 10, 15 years ago, nobody was paid. Everyone was doing things on a voluntary base. And you also have to realize that you have to raise the fee for membership, because otherwise you can't. Otherwise you can't pay anyone. And I mean, it's many different ways to raise the income for the club. You can have more. You can raise the member fee. You can also have all different arrangements. I mean, we have what we call Företagsråd, when a company comes with up to perhaps 20 people and try rowing for 1.5, 2 hours, something like that. And that's great. I mean, it's once in a lifetime for many people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in Sweden, we say in Jönköping, we have about 70, 80,000 people living here in the city. Only a few of them had been on Lake Munksjön.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Feeling, I mean, for a company, if they pay, let's say 600-800, perhaps 1,000 Swedish crowns per person for a 2.5, 3 hours tryout on the water, it's great. It's nothing, but for a club, it's a lot of money coming in.
Yeah.
So there's many different ways to raise the income for the club.
I like what you're talking about here, Mats.
But I also want to stress, I think if we look at, for example, the golf courses, they have a pro. Sometimes he's employed by the club, sometimes he's running his own business. He used the clubhouse, he used the range, he used the clinics and so on, but he's running his own business. But at the same time as he's earning money on his business, he is creating more members for the golf club.
Yeah, revenue. Yeah, exactly.
So this is cooperation in between the pro and the club in that case. And I think you should look at the clubs and see what possibilities you have because all the clubs are different. So you have to find your own way, but you have to try to find new ways to improve the club's activities, and otherwise you won't at all improve the club. You will probably stay or go back in the development.
And that's something that a lot of clubs, and especially I think everything ties together with what we said before, like this old way of thinking, like everything should be cheap, like everything should be accessible to everyone, everything should be open, which is a good thing in theory. You think that, everything is so cheap, everything is so open, everyone is gonna eventually join the club, but that's not really the reality. Maybe it is if you are a club located in a nation where rowing is big, but what happens then is that you bring a lot of people in, and then all of a sudden you are at max capacity, but you don't have the money to do anything you want. Which is not good. It's both stressful because you have a lot of people, and then you don't have any money to take care of those people. That's almost worse than not having people.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Mats, just to transition a little bit to these programs that we have done. Like I mentioned before, we have had 10 clubs this summer in Sweden only, and 1,000 people have went these programs. So a lot of people have learned rowing, and almost 50% of them have continued to the clubs now and become long-term members. What do you think this new wave of people means to Swedish rowing?
They are very, very important. Basically, because of course it differs in between clubs. Many times the generations are rowers, and the father and mother are rowers, and the kids are coming to the club and so on. And suddenly we got people that hadn't heard about rowing before. They didn't know the difference in between canoe and rowing. And I mean, that's the great improvement for Swedish rowing, because we have reached a quite new category of people that we hadn't found before.
Yeah, new
definitely not.
Yeah.
I must say, I said to you before, I was a little bit curious about the project and so on, because that's not typical Swedish way to do it. But I'm sorry to say, I hope I was wrong. I was wrong, because I can see for our club here that it has been a great success. And I don't say it because you told me to say it, because I I haven't been facing that improvement on any other places I've seen here at Jönköpings Roddsällskap since the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean it have been crazy.
Yeah.
Like if you compare it to the example of when you were in schools, it's like going from a school that has like 100 students to going to a school that has 1,000 students within 15 months.
not another mammoth.
Which is crazy. And
no, it's fantastic.
I think also this whole thing like brings also excitement to the people. Like, I mean, Mats, you can insist with me on this one, but think of like how many things have changed here at the club. Like the club. So before we started, it's like the club was not painted. A lot of things were starting to look a little bit old. The whole balcony was old. I think like this sets like a little bit as like fire to people.
Yeah,
like even the old people, the old members, they are like, oh my God, it's time to level up. All these people are here. Like it's finally.
Yes. As we say in Sweden, it's a light in the tunnel. You know, you suddenly see you have a great success, and a great success to create success is another different parts as well. So I must say, if somebody had said this to me for about 2 years ago, I didn't believe it, but now I can see the result as well. So again, thank you very much for doing this.
No, it has been really fun. I mean, like we have been in rowing also. That's a fun fact, you know. This you can do it like in all different sports. Now we're just like focusing in rowing since we know rowing the best, but it also feels like our way of giving back to the sport, because like we have been in rowing, we have competed, we have dedicated like our young years into rowing, and now just like being able to like say, here you go, clubs, you get people, you get the money, you get the structure. It's really nice. Now, Mats, what would you say to clubs or federations that maybe are watching this and they are thinking like, this sounds really good, but I'm not 100% convicted that this is like the future or this is the way forward? What would you say to those people? Like, yeah.
I must say you have proved, we were talking about 10 clubs in Sweden before, and I know from many of the other clubs they're very, very happy of the result and so on. So one thing is to tell people that what you're going to do, another thing is to do with people and prove that you are right. And I must say, you have done it with this project, and I don't see any reason why anyone should even think about not accepting the cooperation with you, because that's, I think this, perhaps I say too much now, but I think this saved Swedish rowing, because we were too few members, too few clubs. Some clubs didn't have an activity at all, and so on. But if the rest of the club get the same result as we have got, it's a great success.
Yeah, and I think like the only reason like why I think clubs would be like opposed to this, or maybe federation, is just of the things that we talked before, just like of this old way of thinking, just of this old, and that's also like the structure that we have and the offer that we have for this program. I'm not sure how familiar you are with all of the structure, but it's like risk-free for the clubs. Yeah. So the clubs don't pay anything up front, they don't pay anything for marketing, they don't pay anything for the coaches, they don't pay, and the federation doesn't pay anything for this either. So it's like, you know, what can happen at the end of the world? Like, you already proved it, like we've done it in small, big cities. It's just like, I think it's like, if we just put it like on its own place, what it really is just, you know, you are afraid of new stuff. Like you are, you just want to do the old stuff because you are not willing to try new stuff. But
we have to rely on a new generation, definitely. And I really agree with you, because there's no risk at all. The only thing you have to think about as a club is to take care of the members that want to continue. And I mean, if you have a plan for that, it's perfect. Yeah. Otherwise, you want to improve the club, or you want to just lay down and let's see what happens. In that case, nothing happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like the number one thing that people do is just, you know, just continue to do what they were doing, and guess what happens? Like, it's going to be the same thing. So just like trying something new is well, the worst thing that can happen is that you maybe didn't like it, and then what? You go back to the same thing that you did before. You know?
Exactly. And that risk is not so big.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like now So obviously we have done this with a lot of clubs. Now we are doing it for the second year again with the same clubs because the clubs saw the results, which is really amazing. So to all the clubs or federations that are watching this, like if you are interested, you can at least hear more about it. You know, take it like in small steps. Like you can hear about it, then maybe you think like, why not try it? Maybe you say like, you know what, I'm just gonna wait a little bit more, see more clubs succeed with it before I jump into it. That's okay also, but just like I just want to close this with just like being open-minded. I think it's a good thing, and all the things that you, Mats, brought up also, I think they are really valuable, like what you have seen from your side, just like this constant culture of just like being closed and just doing the things that you have done before in 2026. I think it's not like the best way to move forwards.
And the thing is, you can, if you think about this project, you can always ask any of the 10 clubs in Sweden that does it, because one thing is what you say in your marketing, another thing the result is. So good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mats, and thank you for being in this interview. It was really nice. This was a little bit of a longer interview, but I think we covered really important stuff that I think a lot of clubs and federations are issuing. So really nice to have you here. Thank you for everything that you have done for Swedish rowing, and thank you for being here.
And welcome to Jönköping if you come in.
Yeah, if you come here, meet Mats. All right, bye-bye everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice day.